No.
Did you bring the document?
Let me say good evening to all of us on today. We're excited to have some recognitions that we need to take care of prior to officially starting our meeting. The first thing that we want to do is give a special recognition to our Employee of the Month, Mr. Doug Lane. Let's give him a hand. So Doug Lane was selected as Employee of the Month for October 2023. Doug has worked for the City of Muskogee 36 years. Doug currently holds the position of Water Distribution Maintenance Leader in the Public Works Department. In his free time, Doug likes to go hunting, take care of his dogs, and spending time with his family at home as well as his family at work, as he considers the water distribution employees family. He also enjoys working on cars, especially his 1967 Dodge Dart, which he has turned into a street rod that will run a 10.95 in a quarter of a mile at 125 miles per hour. Doug was nominated by his boss, Eric Twyman. Eric says that Doug has met and exceeded the Employee of the Month criteria. As an operations foreman, he has been an integral part of the team's success over the past years and seldom misses work. For 20 plus years, he has been faithful as an employee, as easily seen by his accrual balance. He is always a great resource for institutional knowledge and truly embraces the role as a public servant. The main reason for this nomination is to show him that he is very much appreciated, and his work ethic is obvious. To our knowledge, he has never been recognized, and we believe that tonight this is a long overdue appreciation. So on behalf of myself, Doug, and the members of the City Council, Mr. Twyman, and all of those who work as your family in the water distribution area, congratulations on being selected as our October 2023 Employee of the Month. Council, if you'll come down, let's have a nice photo op with Mr. Lane.
Congratulations.
Today is also Indigenous Peoples Day. We are excited to proclaim it as such here in the City of Muskogee. I'm going to read the proclamation. It says, whereas today we recognize the resilience and contributions of Indigenous people that have made our city, our state, and our country better, stronger, and more vibrant. Whereas, since time, people indigenous have, to this land we now call Oklahoma, have built communities, fostered cultures, and stewarded the land's sustainability. Native American peoples found community in places like Muskogee, where they can come together to support each other and share across cultures. Whereas in making this proclamation, we celebrate the contributions of all indigenous peoples to the culture of diversity, innovation, and resilience. Whereas today, we remain inspired by all those who have fought for the respect and visibility of indigenous peoples. We continue to celebrate the Native American communities who exemplify the best of who we are and who we can be as Oklahomans and as citizens of the City of Muskogee. Now, therefore, I, Marlon J. Coleman, Mayor of the City of Muskogee, do hereby proclaim October 9th, 2023 as Indigenous Peoples Day. And we have a representative who will come and receive this proclamation at this time. Let's celebrate her and all of the indigenous peoples for what they do. And on the subject of Indigenous Peoples Day, Councilor Van is here, who had done such a wonderful job helping us to be certain that we were where we needed to be when we celebrate this day. I want to say publicly that I hope on the next City Council meeting I will have an agenda item where we consider Indigenous people being an actual holiday here in the City of Muskogee. Yes. Council, if you'll please come down. Please excuse me for that.
You're fine.
The kids say take 5 to 6.
5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You can borrow one from Margaret, you pick enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Council, if you'll stay, yeah, I was just gonna say, council, if you'll stay, as we do the final proclamation. This is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, whereas the proclamation of domestic violence crosses all economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, and social barriers and is sustained by social indifference, and whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and or abuse, and whereas victims should have help to find needed compassion, comfort, and healing, and should have access to medical and legal services, counseling, transitional housing, and other supportive services so that they can escape the cycle of abuse. And whereas WISH has contact with 314 victims of domestic violence, provided shelter to 79 women and 56 children in 2023. Now, therefore, I, Marlon J. Coleman, Mayor of the City of Muskogee, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We want to take this opportunity to publicly thank Evelyn Hibbs, who is the leader of our WISH program, former member of this Muskogee City Council, for all the work that she does. And while she could not be here tonight, one of their committee members, Jamie Stout, will receive the proclamation, Assistant Director, on their behalf. Stealing your microphone. Thank you, sir.
So do I do that invitation of flex? Just leave it at 10. If you'll stand at this time, we'll have our invocation followed by the flag salute. Shall we pray? Dear Lord, once again, we come thanking you for the gift of another day. Thank you for all the blessings you have restored on each and every one of us. I ask that you would just look upon your city leaders tonight as we come. We have decisions to make. Let all that we do be in your will and in your way. These and many other blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
Now call to order the meeting of the Muskogee City Council, which is a special call for October 9th, 2023. Roll call.
Mayor Marlon Coleman,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Jamie Stout. Here. Alex Reynolds. Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hoos.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Here.
Herlin Boyati Craig.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Thank you. Item number 1.
Discuss and consider approval of a proposal to the City of Muskogee Foundation for a distribution of $20 million over the next 5 fiscal years in lieu of the City of Muskogee participating in the Foundation's competitive grant process or take other necessary action.
Members of the body, this is my item on tonight. I want to first be very mindful of the hard efforts of our staff, Mr. Miller and others, who have worked towards having those conversations with the City of Muskogee Foundation, as well as us on tonight to consider this request. What we're asking us to be considerate of is the fact that we have taken the time to look at the projection for what the City of Muskogee gets on an annual cycle for its granting program. Normally what happens is that we have our request, it goes through several of those committees, and then those funds are awarded in an amount that is approved by the foundation and its committees. what we have tried to have a conversation about is to look at a way where we can have those monies awarded to the city in lieu of going through a competitive process so that we may have more say in how those monies are distributed. Certainly, we will not do anything outside of the spirit of those funds and how they were originally designed to meet those 4 categories that the foundation has so dutifully managed over the years. And so if we were to receive the funds in this way, certainly we would be obligated, I believe, to be certain that we still spent those monies in those categories so that we can be responsible with what the taxpayers expect that the city of Muskogee elected officials would do. And so what we want to be able to do also to those who are from the foundation who are watching and vote present is be aware of the fact that we don't want to put ourselves in a situation as a city where we might give the illusion or even the propensity to double dip. And by that, what I mean is if in the spirit of what is designed, this body will approve what will only be a request on tonight to the foundation, and the foundation were to come back and say, yes, we need to be mindful of the fact in the spirit of gratitude that we will not go back to the foundation to pile on any additional funds on top of that unless an emergency would dictate. And I do have to say this on behalf of those officers of the foundation. Since my time in office and beforehand, whenever there was a need that was considered immediate, whether it was for economic development or quality of life in particular, the foundation has done their due diligence to be certain that we can have that consideration, and many times have made that grant to those entities for the betterment of the city. And so what we are asking for tonight is that the council will approve us to actually make the formal request to the City of Muskogee Foundation so that we would have over 5 years a $20 million grant cycle where that money would be given to the City of Muskogee increments of $4 million per year over that period so that we can proceed to be able to do those great things for the city within those 4 categories without having to go through the routine process. I think that this puts us in a better situation where we're not argumentative among ourselves when we prepare the letters of intent that will go to the foundation and then have them debated and then have us come back with an amount that we have to go with. This puts us in a clear, transparent view where we have the opportunity to make that decision as council without having to go through that additional process. So if I were going to make a motion tonight, it would be motion as presented so that we can make the formal request to the foundation so that they consider what we're asking for, and that would be a $20 million 5-year fiscal grant cycle in lieu of participating in the foundation's competitive process. That would be my motion.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, may I be recognized?
Yes.
I did ask for details on the back of the number, and the manager has provided the information. I hope you guys have looked at it as well. So my question in this is that I see here that we have CIP money for roads. Well, that's something that's already been granted, from my understanding. Why would it be in these numbers is one of my questions. You don't ask for that amount in a new cycle every year. So why would we take that? When you tell me we're asking for 20 million, we actually getting 13.6 because they're taking that money out of something that's already been approved, if that's correct.
So these are conversations that we have had. And as the president of the foundation board, Ren Stratton, is here, and we've had those discussions, and I'll let her present the foundation's view and how we arrived where we're at today. Because it has been a cooperative process and a discussion along the way to get to where we are today.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the question. Well, in fact, that 13 million was over a period of years. It is still an obligation that was done on the city's behalf and at your request. So that is still an obligation of the city.
I get that. When I say the 13.6, I'm just looking at what the mayor has just said. He's saying when you use numbers and you're using a number of 20 million, I get that. But this is not really $20 million because when the CIP was passed also by the people, and the foundation did agree to do the match. If you're asking for $20 million, then that would be separate money. I'm talking new money, so that we will be able to manage the $20 million that we're saying that we're asking for. I just think numbers of transparency should be always in place. So when I read the background and you tell me in 2024, 2 million, 2025, 2 million, well, that's funds that's already been appropriated. So that wouldn't.
Appropriated but not paid. So
Okay.
you still, that's still an obligation you have.
Correct. I get it. So that would be 20, to me, 24 million, because that
So
money would already be given.
After you've paid off your obligations, then that 4 million goes up. But you still have to pay off your obligations. And the streets is one of your obligations.
Okay, I get it.
Other
And to-
questions?
And to clarify, the idea is that basically each July 1, we would have $4 million new in the city budget. And some of that is allocated to streets, right? Some of that is allocated, but all of it would be allocated according to the council priorities that you set, rather than a board over at the foundation or committees of citizens. And so it takes away some of that tension of citizens trying to figure out, is this community program that we love, or this city program that we love, which one do we fund? And in that case, the city decides which city programs get funded, and the citizen board decides which citizen programs or community-based programs get funded. And this removes kind of that decision-making process, and as the mayor said, puts it back in the council's hands as to how that money gets spent.
Exactly. Any other questions?
So, do we need to have any type of language in presenting this to make sure that we can be able, if that need arises, that we would be able to make additional grants in the future?
I don't think so, Deputy Mayor. I believe that if you came to the foundation, that grant would be considered. They can always say no, but I think at any point that
Just want
grant
to
would
make
be
sure the
considered.
door was open.
Yeah.
If something, did happen, that we would need additional monies other than the $4 million.
Sure. Anytime the flood disaster, the apartment building that burned, those are all times when the foundation would always be there. Large amounts of food went out during COVID. So those are things we will always be there for the citizens.
Thank you.
Sure.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Roll call.
Patrick Kell,
Yes.
Pearline Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos. Tracy McGee.
No.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 2.
Consider approval of resolution number 2959 of the City of Muskogee, Oklahoma, declaring the intent to consider approval of a project and creation of a tax increment district under the Local Development Act, directing preparation of a project plan, appointing a review committee, directing the review committee to make findings as to eligibility and financial impact, if any, on taxing jurisdictions within the district, directing the review committee to make a recommendation with respect to the proposed project plan, directing the Planning and Zoning Commission to make a recommendation with respect to the proposed project plan, and containing other provisions relating thereto, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, we do have some guests here to assist on this agenda item, but the short version of this is that we have an opportunity for a major industrial economic development project on city-owned property at Southside Industrial Park. And the long-term view is that as this property is developed, we will probably need additional infrastructure, more than what we already have, up to including rail or in street improvements, as well as possibly other utility improvements. So a tax increment finance district, which is a TIF, allows us to take the additional tax money that might be created by new development, and that's what the increment is. What we're getting today for our empty open field, what the taxes that would be paid on that. The new and additional money that would be paid, some of that can be captured to pay for those infrastructure developments. Those infrastructure developments and the cost associated with them would only be incurred if that major economic development project came into place. So what you're being asked today is, can we look at that? Can we start the process and create what is known as a TIF committee, and all the things that was very well read by our city clerk? Can we get that process started, talk to the taxing entities that would be potentially affected by this economic development project, and see what they think? The council is aware of some of what the current economic development project is. We've discussed that in executive session, and we should not discuss that in open session. But this would allow for that infrastructure to be developed regardless of whether that project came or another project came in the future as well. So it's not specifically tied to a given project, but there is an opportunity close at hand. Nate Ellis with the Public Law Finance Group is here, as well as representatives of Port Muskogee that are supportive of starting the process of a TIF. And nothing was decided today. This just allows us, if we vote to do this, it allows us to start the process and consider what it would look like in the future and get input from those taxing entities. First, I'll see if there are other questions from the council. Would you like to hear more from Mr. Ellis, who's come all this way and is very eloquent? But this is our opportunity to move forward with this economic development project.
Yeah, Mike, can you let us know who all serves on the review committee?
A representative from each of the taxing districts, and Mr. Ellis may have that handy. I will defer to him.
So that would be Hilldale Independent School District, Indian Capital Technology Center, the county health department, Eastern Oklahoma District Library System, Muskogee County EMS, and then that body would also elect 3 at-large representatives to fill out the full committee. There'd be a member of the Planning Commission on there, and then a representative of the City Council as well. So I think that makes 11 people total.
Thank you. If there's, okay, I would go ahead and make a motion that we adopt the resolution as presented and designate Mayor Marlon Coleman to serve as the chairperson of the TIF review committee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 2. Any further discussion from this body? Roll call.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Pearline Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. Item passes. Thank you. Item number 3.
Consider approval to
What, Nate, did you have something special you wanted to say to us? Or?
The next item's me too.
okay,
so
The next
I'll
item
stay
is
up
really
here.
important. It's
Okay.
really,
In case
really
there's
important to
All
him
right.
as well.
Okay. Sorry, you were just standing there, and I was like, I want you to think I'm the ill-mannered mayor. You know, so we're trying to. Did we read the item?
I haven't yet.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Item number 3.
Consider approval to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute an agreement with the Public Finance Law Group, PLLC, for tax increment finance counsel services or take other necessary action.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, as we've decided to move forward, we do, these are specialized activities, managing and creating a TIF. We would like to engage with Public Law Finance Group, Public Finance Law Group, for those tax increment finance counsel services. They have done this before for us and have done it well. We're pleased with their services and would like to work with them again. We would suggest a motion to approve to allow us to move forward with their advice on this project.
Move for approval.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second on item number 3. Mr. Ellis, do you have anything before I overlook you again haphazardly?
Thank you for your consideration.
We also have staff from the Port of Muskogee. If you'd like to say something at this time. Am I saying, you're saying no? It's like, this means different stuff now, so we're good. Okay. We have a motion and a second.
Yes.
Further discussion. Roll call.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Pearline Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos. Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, item number 3 passes. That meeting is now adjourned. We will now turn our attention to the Finance Committee.
Finance Committee meeting, agenda item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Finance Committee minutes of September 11th, 2023, or take other necessary action.
Reviewing of the minutes, are there any corrections or additions to our minutes?
I move for approval.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous. Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 1 passes. Item number 2, please.
Consider approval of claims for all city departments September 2nd, 2023 through September 29, 2023, or take other necessary action.
Do we have a report from the purchasing committee?
Yes, the purchasing committee did meet this afternoon, and we approved the claims. I move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve our claims list. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous. Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 2 passes. Item number 3, please.
Consider approval to accept the FY 2021-2022 audit performed by Hood and Associates or take other necessary action.
Mr. Reed?
Yes, at this time, I'd like to introduce Violet Kirkendall with Hood and Associates as she will present the fiscal year 22 audit.
Good evening, everybody. I think everybody should have a copy of the report that we issued. And we're going to start the discussion on page 1, which is right behind the table of contents. This looks like a big report, so I'm going to try to hit some of the things that are important, and we won't be here all night doing that. So page 1 just shows this is the audit for the year ended June 30th, 2022. And then in our opinion, your financial statements were presented fairly in all material respects as of that date. And that we used our audit and we conducted the auditing standards generally accepted in the United States and government auditing standards in performing in our audit. Then we're going to go over to page 5, which starts the management discussion and analysis. And this basically is a narrative information about the financial statements that are very complex and have a lot of content. So I'm going to hit the high points out of this and try to answer anybody's questions. For the financial highlights for June 30th, 2022, the citywide total net position increased $3,737,286. We had at June 30th, the general fund reported an unassigned fund balance of $8,389,102. And for budgetary reporting purposes, the general fund reported revenues over estimates of the revenues that we put in place of $1,460,598. Expenditures were under your final appropriations that we budgeted by $1,857,142. Then we're going to go over to page 7, which starts the discussion on the actual financial statements. And the first one would be the statement of net position. And this is a government-wide display of information for your city, which there's different types of activities, governmental, business type, and then we have the total. The city's combined net position increased $230,303,513. Which, from that amount to $234,040,799, or a 1.6 increase. For the governmental activities, your current assets increased $22.8 million, mainly due to the issuance of the new debt for the street project and $2.3 million from the transfer from the MMA. Business type activities decreased $23.5 million or 13%, mainly due to a $20.8 million in current assets of the city foundation. Non-current liabilities decreased $20.4 million, mainly due to the decrease in grants payable and reclassification of the debt. Page 8 is a change in net position, and this is basically an income statement view of the governmental activities. And on the government activities, the change in net position was $7.5 million. And examples of governmental activities are government general government, your fire, your police, your streets, the Public Works Authority, and parks. So we're on page 9, where we have a section there on business type activities. The change in net position for business type activities was a decrease in 2.3 million. And examples of the proprietary activities are your water, your wastewater services, your solid waste, the Hatbox Sports Complex, the Hatbox Field, the Civic Center, Roxy Theater, Swim and Fitness Center, the War Memorial Park, City of Muskogee Foundation, and Davis Field Airport. The charges for services decreased $4.7 million, mainly due to Muskogee Foundation decreasing their unrealized gains of $42.9 million. That was basic. It didn't mean that your water rates or anything decreased. It just meant the total increases in your net assets. We had capital grants and contributions increased $510,000, and our utilities expenses increased $9.4 million. Mainly due to the transfer of utility expenses of $6.7 million from governmental activities. Community development expenses decreased $19.4 million due to decrease in program expenses from Muskogee Foundation. Then over on page 10, we have capital assets, and at the end of the 22 fiscal year, the city had $174.1 million in broad range of capital assets, including police, fire, public works equipment, buildings, park facilities, infrastructure, roads, bridges, and stormwater drain structures, which the amount is an increase of $2.9 million from the 2021 fiscal year. Page 11, there were some significant capital additions, and there's a list of them there. That we had the Northeast Mall and Overlay Project. We had the Automated Meter Project, the Northside Collection System, the Mill and Overlay Southeast Zone Project, the Winter Storm Emergency Road Repairs, and the Port Lift Station. Down on the long-term debt section there, we had a schedule there of the debt, but I just wanted to mention that overall a net increase of the governmental funds, we had a $9.5 million increase, and business type activities, we had a $130,000 net increase. Page 12, we had just some economic factors there and budget rates that we had note disclosure on. So we're going to go over to, like I said, the summary information I just talked about was all that's in the information of the financial statement. So I'm going to skip over to page 95, and which is another report that is issued from our audit. And this is a report on internal controls over financial reporting and compliance with laws and regulations. And part of performing an audit is we perform random tests of those areas. And a deficiency in internal control exists when the design or operation of control does not allow management or employees in the normal course of performing their duties to prevent or detect corrected mistakes on a timely basis. A material weakness is the deficiency or combination of deficiencies in internal control, such as there is reasonably possible a misstatement of the entity's financial statements will not be prevented or detected on a timely basis. We had one finding on the internal controls that we'll discuss when we get to that section. And then we had on the compliance, where we test compliance with certain provisions of laws and regulations, contracts, and grant agreements. We had one area that we disclosed to you on internal control and compliance over financial reporting. Page 97 is another auditor's report that we have to issue, and this is related to the single audit or the major programs for federal funding. And we identified there's a compliance supplement that we have to follow in performing the audit. And over on page 98, we had disclosed instances of noncompliance, which the first finding is related to the internal controls, which was on the last report. And then the third one is related to the federal award reporting system. So we'll go over those in detail as well. Then we're going to go over to page 104, where this starts the actual schedule of those findings in detail. So the first finding, 2022-001, was controls over financial reporting. And this is the same, basically the same thing that was there last year. It's a repetitive thing just because we basically had the same things happen because we were behind and the same things occurred. We couldn't fix it because it was delayed. So criteria is the city's management is responsible for ensuring the accurate and completeness of financial reports and related information. The condition is the city was unable to produce the financial statements for the year ended June 30th, 2022 in accordance with GAAP in a timely manner. And the city's governing body and senior management have subsequently evaluated the city's internal controls related to financial reporting to ensure that the finance department is producing not only timely and accurate financial reports, but also monthly reports that can enable the government body to exercise appropriate oversight. So management response and your corrective action plan is that the city has evaluated those internal controls and related to producing those timely reporting and have obtained qualified personnel to be able to implement the timely reporting in the future audits. Compliance findings, we had 2022-002, which is related to when an audit is not submitted timely to the state auditor's office. It's called a Form 2643, and that is required to be filed within 180 days of fiscal year end. So because it wasn't filed with this audit, it was a compliance finding. And again, as top of page 105 is that we, in the future, it will be done correctly when we're on schedule, we're almost caught up. We filed fiscal year 21 in March of 2023. This is fiscal year 22. I think that there was scheduled for the accountants to be on site in November. So we're getting there, which is taking a minute. So then it goes on to the compliance findings, 2022-003, and this is regarding the filing of the data collection form with the Federal Audit Clearinghouse. Again, it's to do with the federal awards. This cannot be filed until after the audits are completed and filed with the state. So they're required to be filed. It's required to be filed 30 days after the audit is filed. So again, the same reasons for the previous two as the same reasons for this, and I feel confident with working with Dennis and Mike that they're diligent and wanting to get caught up. I mean, they've been very timely in anything I've asked for and the accountants have asked for. So it shows that we've got from 2023 March to now and gotten another one done. So, I mean, it usually takes a minute. So anyway, I wanted to give them kind of a hand in getting that done.
Thank you. Any questions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second that we approve this agenda item. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell,
Yes.
Perlin Boyati Craig,
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery,
Yes.
Tracy Hoos,
Yes.
Tracy McGee,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. Item number 3 passes. Item number 4, please.
Thank you.
Consider approval for the Muskogee Fire Department to receive 6 high-intensity, non-visible, intelligent illumination lights to be installed on fire engines to create a safe roadside working environment during nighttime incidents or take other necessary action.
Chief Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. We have some great community partners, and again, Morgan Towing has stepped up. They have donated some equipment, as you saw in the packet. Basically what this does is anytime we're in a nighttime setting, this will illuminate our vest as well as the reflective stripe on the trucks and bunker gear, making it more visible to oncoming traffic, obviously increasing safety. So that's, most of you probably can hear on the news almost every night there's a first responder getting hit somewhere, either in the state or the nation. So this will greatly improve our safety as well as other responders on scene, including wrecker and towing personnel. So
Awesome.
we do recommend approval.
Thank you. Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve this item. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell,
Yes.
Perlin Boyati Craig,
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery,
Yes.
Tracy Hoos,
Yes.
Tracy McGee,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. Item number 4 passes. Item number 5, please.
Consider approval for the Muskogee Fire Department to accept an award of $72,727.27 in federal grant funds with a $7,272.73 match from the City Matching Grant Fund to upgrade the exhaust removal systems at 5 fire stations or take other necessary action.
Chief Moore.
Yes, so we're pretty fortunate. We're 2 for 2 on grants in the last couple of years. So what this grant would do would help us upgrade our exhaust removal systems. All the diesel engines that our engines give off, obviously, has been a known carcinogen. So this system we currently have is about 12 to 13 years old. So it is well due time for an upgrade. So, and we do recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Yes, sir, Mr. Miller.
I'd like to thank the council and point out this is the first grant that will be coming under our newly approved matching grant policy, and this is exactly what we're excited about, being able to leverage, 7,000 city dollars and get 10 times that amount in federal dollars. So thank you, Chief Moore, and the council for setting that up.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Pearline Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes, item number 5 passes. Item number 6, please.
Consider approval of the Oklahoma Historical Society Subgrant Agreement for the Certified Local Governments Program or take other necessary action.
Mr. King.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman and Committee. So the the city has applied to be a part of the Certified Local Governments Program through the Oklahoma Historical Society. This is a program that we have been a part of for many years with a goal and mission of preserving the history of a city and maintaining its historical awareness as matters of tourism and development, and to maintain the goals and objective of any type of the Historic Preservation Commission, which is part of the city's duty. The grant for this year is a $17,500 grant, which has a $7,000 matching component from the city. As I said, this is a grant we continue to participate in every single year as part of the Certified Local Government Program, and we are just asking for approval, and the staff recommends approval of the Historical Society Subgrant Agreement.
Questions for Mr. King?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Pearline Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes, item number 6 passes. Item number 7.
Consider approval to allow the city manager to negotiate and execute a consulting service agreement and business associate agreement with Alliant Insurance Services for the purpose of providing broker services for employee health benefits as recommended by the City of Muskogee Health Insurance Committee or take other necessary action.
Ms. Eden?
Chairman, Committee. Per City Council request in the spring of 2023, the City Health Insurance Committee sought proposals for a brokerage consulting firm. The request for proposal was posted on July 21st, 2023, and the deadline for submitting the proposal was September 1st, 2023. 7 responses were received from various brokerage firms in Oklahoma and surrounding states. Responses were received from Alliant Insurance Services, which is our current broker, NFP, Rooney Insurance, Marsh & McLennan, McGriff, Lucht Insurance Group, and Municipal Health Solutions /JTS. Municipal Health Solutions was disqualified for not complying with the RFP requirements. NFP and McGriff filed incomplete proposals. After a review of the responses received, a committee comprised of Chris Cummings, which is IT Director, and the Insurance Committee Chairperson, myself, Susan Ross, Payroll and Benefits Administrator, and Insurance Committee Secretary, Insurance Committee members Jared Havens, Tammy Tracy, Nick Frazee, Lance Whitman, and Brandon Bycroft scored the proposals with Alliant and Lucht Insurance Group scoring the highest. The committee interviewed both companies and voted 6 to 3 to select Alliant Insurance Services, which is our current broker, due to them having the best proposal. Alliant's advantages over other groups included a flat per employee per month fee with no commissions on supplemental policies and no additional fees for reporting. The staff and the City Insurance Committee recommend approval, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments?
I've got a comment. First, I'd like to thank the committee for doing what appears to be a thorough job, and I know they put a lot of work into this. I think there are some of us on council, myself included, that have a few questions that we'd like to have the opportunity to ask the committee at, here in the next week or two. And if we could, I'd like to table this item until that time.
Thank you.
For clarification, Mr. Kale, is your motion to table it to the council meeting in 2 weeks?
Can we arrange a meeting? Oh, yes. 2 weeks. Table it for
Which
2
would
weeks.
be until the 23rd. Okay. Usually, my question is, we usually table it to a specific time.
Thank
So I
you.
wanted to make sure we had the specific time that you were intending.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table this item until the city council meeting. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Patrick Hale,
Yes.
Perlin Boyati Craig,
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery,
Yes.
Tracy Hoos,
Yes.
Tracy McGee,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. Item number 7 has been tabled. Item number 8, please.
Discuss and provide direction to staff to research a crisis intervention center, CIC, and program, and to find funds to staff a new program and facility for juvenile offenders or take other necessary action.
All right, this is my item along with Councilor Tracy McGee. We do have 2 citizens that have signed up to speak. Tracy, would you like to do an introduction, or do you want us to get the speakers first?
Yes. We have our NAAC president, Dr. Roger Cutler, and we also have Melanie Crawford. She is our director of Concerned Citizens of Muskogee. She's also a school teacher here in the city of Muskogee, and they'll be speaking.
Okay, so first we'll call to the stand Ms. Melanie Crawford. If you'll come and stand and just give us your name. And you have 5 minutes to speak on this agenda item.
Good evening. I'm Melody Cranford, and I am standing to speak to this item. Anytime someone commits a violent crime with a firearm or any kind of weapon, it is a tragedy and brings undue trauma to a community and the city at large. The pervasiveness of gun violence in particular is a threat to young males in communities of color. So I'm standing because we have had several incidences in recent times with these offenders. And I would like to know, what are we going to do to protect the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens as we do something to make sure that these young people understand that what they are doing is unacceptable? I would like to make some proposals tonight for a community violence intervention program that we would like our city to help us with. On yesterday, we hosted an event at the Arrowhead Mall parking lot where we spoke to the young people. We had Keith Biglow bring a casket and a hearse out there, and we spoke to some of these young males. We had insurance companies there. We did some things that had not been done in the face of violence in our community. We reached lots of young people. So tonight I'm asking our city to join with us, help us come to the table with community stakeholders at large, have this conversation so that we can impact our community and send a message to these young people that says we will not tolerate these things and it will not continue to make Muskogee look like what they are portraying it to be. I'm also asking that the city would proclaim October 17th, National Day of Concern, with other mothers across this nation of color who are trying to fight and combat gun violence. So on that day, all across the nation, people wear orange and send a message that violence through firearm is unacceptable in their community. So I'm asking the city of Muskogee to join the nation in this fight to combat this violence. I'm also asking that we empower and heal our people through supportive programming for youth who are at a higher risk. We know where these youth are located. We know how this is impacting communities of color, and we are standing. I'm also the education chair of the Muskogee NAACP. One of my commissions is to figure out ways to prevent the deaths of young people of color. And so this is a way that I think we can intervene and become more proactive instead of reactive. I would also like for us to invest in, and I think this goes along with the agenda item tonight, place-based programming for services for these young people. We know that they have, some of them suffered traumatic experiences. We know that some of them have mental health issues. If we could have some facility that is place-based so that these young people can get the services that they need so that they don't become repeat offenders. We know that a lot of these young people have records in the schools. If we can partner with the school system to make sure that these people are getting the services that they need. So I'm standing tonight to ask the City Council and the City of Muskogee to help us intervene before we lose any more young people. There were so many young people out there yesterday that cried when they looked inside that casket because the trauma from the deaths of their classmates, the 14 and the 15 and the 16-year-olds. I teach young children. I teach in an elementary school, and to have kindergarten students checked out to attend funerals of their relatives and then come back to school and cry is something that we have got to stand up and combat, because the mental aspect of that on a kindergarten student is almost irreversible. So I'm standing tonight to ask for your help. Thank you.
Thank you. So I stand to be corrected. The two speakers, Tracy, signed up for item number 9.
Okay.
So if you will go ahead and make the presentation concerning agenda item number 8, and then we'll get our second speaker. Don't want to call Ms. Cranford back because I'm sure she can give us 5 minutes more, but.
Sure, Deputy Mayor. I brought this agenda item due to the recent 2 murders that took place here last month, and also due to the fact that there was a funeral that took place, and we had our youth bring guns to the funeral. And when this happened, the youth was apprehended, but because we have no place to take them, the youth was released. They were apprehended at the church. They were put in the police car, and then for a while, and then they were released right back to the crowd. That's disturbing, you guys. That's traumatic, because what they're saying is that the kids are thinking we can do these things and get away with it. So it's been on my heart and mind. The community's been calling. Everybody want to know, what can we do? So talking with Deputy Mayor Reed, I know when I first came to the council, there was a program in place called the CIC program. So I was looking at that to maybe that we as a city can adapt something similar to that. Don't necessarily have to be the same program, but you have a base in which you can look at and grow. Form a community committee consisting of a couple of people that we have personally talked about. Tony Bradley, which is the judge, Mr. Cooper, who's over the Fright Night, Larry Edwards, Chief Teehee, Andy Simmons, also talking with Michael Welber on the list because he may have a potential building where we can get a program started. Looking at, as we did more research, we discovered that the McCoy program ran this program before, and due to different things taking place, they ended up losing the state contract. So it left us empty-handed here in Muskogee. So our youth is just, really running rampant at this time, and we have to do something about it. So I'm asking staff today to research, come back and tell us what's out there, what we can do, how can we find state funding to be able to sponsor this, I call it alert, I call it a pandemic here in Muskogee, when you're losing as many youth as we're losing here in the city. So Derek, I'll let you touch on a little of that as well.
All right. So I guess the action that we're asking for today is just to have a discussion, and also in this discussion, if possible, Chief Teehee, if we could get these persons that she mentioned together and make a formal agenda item and an action for the city council meeting at the end of the month. Just to piggyback on what Tracy's saying, the community's calling, and we as a council, we as leaders, we have to show that we are listening, and we need to take some action now to help save lives. Any comments that you?
First, I like Ms. Cranford's idea of doing something, and would be open to any of that. I have talked to Ms. McGee. The one thing originally we talked about was the CIC. I had talked with Katrina at length on that and kind of did some research about that, and that's not where we're needing to go. I agree we need to do something, but the CIC is more of a, for lack of a better word, kind of like a babysitter, where just as soon as we find the parents, we only hold them for up to 24 hours. But we can research and try to figure out what we can do.
Okay.
One of the things that I talked to Ms. Bodenhammer about today was that it's a statewide issue. It's not just specific to Muskogee, and obviously we're concerned about Muskogee. What we need is the community or the detention center that's sitting vacant. We don't have that luxury. It's sitting there empty. The part of the problem with that is that with 10 or 12 beds there, if we was to open, I was telling Mr. Miller, if we opened it today at noon, the beds would be full by dark. And then you're out of bed space again. So with regards to the funeral, they were released not to the crowd but to their parents. Is that the best case scenario? No, but again, when we have district judges telling us they have no place to put violent offenders, it's a problem. But I agree that the list of names that you said would definitely be a list that I have no problem contacting to try to get something to figure out what a solution is.
Thank you, Captain. Chief.
So, Chief, if you could, and Mr. Zimmerman, if it's okay, we would like to direct staff to assist Chief Teehee in this action, and then we'll have a official agenda item with action on the city council agenda for this month, if that's okay with the pleasure of this council.
I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos. Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. Item number 9, please.
Discuss gun violence within the city of Muskogee and take other necessary action.
We do have another speaker signed up to speak, but this is Councilor McGee's item, so I'll let you take this one as well.
Yeah, this is my item as well, and we will allow the NAACP president to speak here. And then I'll have something to say because I did do some research, and I think we'll share what we found so that we all be on the same page with it.
We're calling to the stand at this time, Reverend Roger Cutler. If you could state your name, and you have 5 minutes to address this agenda item.
Roger Cutler, 704 North Anthony Street. City Council, Mayor, citizens of Muskogee. Dr. King put it best when he said our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. I rise today because we have an epidemic that is plaguing our community. I would even go as far to say a public health crisis. Gun violence on our streets. From the mass shooting in Taft to the recent 2 killings of the young boys in our street, to guns walking in our churches during funerals, and then fights breaking out after the funeral, to the point they had to shut the church down and the school across the street. We have a problem. We realize that it is not an indictment on city government. This is an indictment on all of us if we sit by and do nothing. We're here tonight in partnership together. because it's going to take city government, community leaders, schools, churches, all of us coming together to eradicate this public health crisis. We must be proactive. Somebody turn my mic down. We must be proactive in order that we don't become the next headline on CNN because of a mass shooting in our schools, because of a mass shooting in our games, at our events in our community. We do not want to become another national headline because we sit back and do nothing. So I'm calling on the city government to not only consider the proposals that were just brought by Ms. Cranford, but I'm calling on the city government to develop a task force against gun violence. This is to assist our community with this public health crisis. How long will it take? How long? It may not be in your neighborhood, but it can be tomorrow. How long will it take? Will it take another mass shooting in Muskogee? Will it take a shooting at a game or community gathering? God forbid. It is going to take all of us, to partner together to be proactive against gun violence. Thank you.
Councilor McGee.
Yes. As we talk to you tonight about gun violence in our city, I've received many calls from citizens and concerned parents asking, what can we do as a city? So I pose the same questions to this elected or appointed body. What can we do? I reached out to the management and received a 5-year stat report. Every one of you got one sitting in front of you. You have, in 2020, and all of my references come from the Muskogee Phoenix. Thank you, Muskogee Phoenix. So I'll start there. 2020, headlines, homicide numbers is up, 2020. If you look at your paper that was given to you, if you look down, it says 2020, and they listed the assaults, the shot fired, the shootings, homicide. Now in 2020, we have 3 here. But as I did my research, you'll find that in 2020, there was 8 homicides in Muskogee and 2 in the county. This is printed from the Muskogee Phoenix by Ron Rowland. You happen to be sitting here today, Ron. The city of Muskogee recorded 8 homicides in 2020, the highest number in 3 years. 2 more occurred in the Muskogee County, total of 10 homicides. And I wanted to point something out here in the city of Muskogee to let you know that this is happening throughout our city and not in just one location. The first homicide took place at 13th and Fremont Street. The second homicide took place at 500 block of Grand Avenue. The third homicide, 810 and a half North K Street. The fourth, 2500 block of Margaret Lane, Lynn Lane. The fifth, 2200 Monta Avenue. The sixth, the 400 block of West Augusta. 7th and 8th was a double murder, 826 South York Street. This is to show you that it's happening all over our city. 2021, we had something that happened, that where 5 children's lives was taken in 2021, each side of the city. 2022, 1 killed at 300 block of South 9th Street. 2023, where we sit today, once again, 4 killed, 1 murder homicide, 1600 block of Center Lane, East Hayes and North 45th Street. This shows us that we have a gun violence all over our city. So I say to you today, we have to answer to the call. What can we do? Violence is real in Muskogee. Thank you.
So that was just a report on the gun violence. That is the final item for our Finance Committee meeting. Meeting is adjourned.
Welcome to tonight's Public Works meeting for October 9th, 2023. Roll call, please. Oh, no roll call needed. Thank you. Item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Public Works Committee minutes of September 11th, 2023, or take other necessary action.
You all had a chance to review the minutes. Any corrections or addendums?
I move for approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Item number 1 passes. Item number 2 and item number 3, the applicant has chosen to withdraw his application. Item number 4, please.
Hold a public hearing and consider approval of ordinance number 4207A to rezone property located at 3614 West Okmulgee from C1 Local Commercial to C2 General Commercial, and if approved, authorize staff to revise the official zoning map of the city to reflect said change or take other necessary action.
At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Mr. King?
Good evening. I did submit a PowerPoint to IT for this evening, and if they can pull it up, that'd be great. If I go ahead and go and get started. If not,
Nope.
that one's not it.
Go ahead and get started, Mr. King.
Okay, so ordinance number 4207A is a application to rezone property located at 3614 West Okmulgee from C1 Local Commercial to C2 General Commercial. The applicant owns a car wash at that location, like to rezone it to C2 so they can do a tire shop, sales and repair shop at that location. It is
We'll go ahead and skip through.
yeah, let's skip all this. And that's actually it on that item. So I'll take any questions if I have them. Staff recommends approval.
We have no one signed up to speak for this, to speak to this item, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Is there any further council discussion or entertain a motion?
Move for approval. Second.
Motion and a second. If no further discussion, roll call, please.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 5, please.
Consider approval of ordinance number 4210A, amending the City of Muskogee Code of Ordinances, Chapter 90, Zoning, Article 21, Historic Preservation, Section 90-21-10, Application/Procedure, by eliminating the time requirement for the Historic Planning Commission to review and take action on a certificate of appropriateness application or take other necessary action.
Mr. King?
So this item in our code currently for our Historical Preservation Commission, when the staff receives a certificate of appropriateness, they have 5 days to review the item and gather the Planning Commission to vote on the certificate of appropriateness. It's just realistically not a good enough time frame to get everyone together, and also to make sure that a quorum would be present in a sufficient amount of time. And so what this ordinance is going to do is it is going to change the code from where it says 5 days to 10 business days, giving us 2 full weeks to review the application, gather the Planning Commission, and do a special call if necessary for any certificate of appropriateness that comes in through the staff's office to present to the Historical Preservation Commission. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance. We'll take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Do we entertain a motion?
Move for approval. I second it.
Have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Item number 5 passes. Item number 6, please.
Consider approval of amended City Council Policy 2-3, initiation of civil suits and other legal proceedings, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Bonehammer?
Thank you. Actually, Mr. Austin Witt of my office has prepared this and will present it.
Good evening, Chairman and Committee. The proposed amended language to Council Policy 2-3, titled Initiation of Civil Suits and Other Legal Proceedings, would better allow the City Attorney's Office to vigorously defend the city's legal interests. You'll find the first amended proposal would be in Section 1, which would raise the amount of money owed to the city that the city attorney is allowed to pursue from $2,000 to $10,000. And the second proposed amended language would be found in Section 2. What this amended language is doing is allowing the city attorney to take emergency legal action with authorization from the city manager to protect the city's legal interests. This is extremely important right now since we've switched from having city council and public works every week to every other week. Sometimes legal deadlines fall in between, and we do not have the opportunity for city council to convene. By changing the language like this, we will be able to meet with Mr. Miller and make a better determination going forward what our move should be. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Witt. Any questions from the council?
I move for approval.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Item number 6 passes. Item number 7, please.
Discuss and take possible action to modify or rescind City Council Policy 3-3-7, emergency paid sick leave related to COVID-19, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Bonehammer.
Thank you. This is regarding City Council Policy 3-3-7. This was for emergency paid sick leave that when the original strain of COVID was prominent in our society and there were federal laws regarding the same, this policy was enacted to pay up to 12 weeks of sick leave to any city employee who had COVID. The federal guidelines for this and the regulations have been withdrawn. They are no longer in effect. So at this time, we need to reevaluate our COVID leave policy. We can either rescind it or we can modify it to reduce the number of paid days. One of the concerns that staff has is that if we don't offer any paid days, we will have employees coming to work at City Hall with COVID. When this happens, an entire floor can be shut down. This kind of is up to City Council on what they want to do and how long they want to pay someone, if they want to pay someone to be off work for COVID.
I've got a question. It seems like today, the safe number that I hear is 5 to 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
It's 5 days isolation, 5 days mask, and that's being symptom-free on day 6.
Okay.
If you're symptom-free day 6. That's the recommendations from the CDC as far as, there's a lot of argument about those recommendations, but that's the current guidelines from the CDC.
Well, I would suggest that we amend the policy and follow the CDC guidelines.
Okay.
So to be clear, the CDC doesn't necessarily recommend, I mean, the CDC guidelines are different than the federal regulations. This was put in place when the federal government mandated 2 weeks off, and gave
the federal government's not mandating
right, and
anything yet.
gave federal additional pay that didn't require you to take extra sick leave, and that this is a holdover from that time, and this can remain a holdover from that time. It'd be one of the few municipalities that does that. So following the CDC guidelines should happen regardless of whether there's this time or not, I should say. So I just want to make that clear that the how people behave to maintain the health of themselves and others is not dependent necessarily on this policy. This policy is about, do we pay people, do we have extra leave because of COVID versus regular leave?
Thank you for that clarification. With that clarification, and I agree with it, the employees do need to follow CDC guidelines, but we won't pay for their sick time off. That's how I understand that would work, which is in today's marketplace, that's the way it's done. How might we say that?
Rescinding this is just meaning that we're not, since the government's not.
We're not obligated
requiring,
for 12 weeks.
Yeah, then if we want to go back, I guess, and give them 5 days, 6 days. Or
Well,
whatever.
can we just rescind it, and then the rule is you've got to take 5 days off?
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized?
Yes, ma'am.
I understand about the discussion that we're having as far as the sick leave for COVID not being paid. We also have Family Medical Leave Act. And if they have enough time, if they have enough PTO time, they get paid under that. So I think that we just need to go ahead and rescind this and submit this for recommendations for approval tonight. And then we will just deal with the PTO time that the individual may have under the FMLA guidelines.
I agree. Would you like to make that a motion?
Yeah, I do.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Mr. Miller?
So clarification, what I'm hearing is a motion to rescind the paid leave
Mhm.
policy.
Mhm.
Thank you for clarification.
Any further discussion? No further discussion. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell?
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Tracy McGee?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Item number 7 passes. Item number 8, please.
Consider approval of accepting a 6-inch force main sanitary sewer line into city maintenance after construction by the Muskogee Creek Nation, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Rigney?
Yes. So, a brief background. The Muskogee Creek Nation has taken ownership of a property at 2900 North Main Street, which is outside the city limits. The property is currently on a lagoon system, which is very labor intensive, and so they are wanting to connect to the city sewer system. They're proposing a construction of a 6-inch force main with a private lift station. The city will own the force main upon completion, and the Creek Nation will own the lift station and operate it, and the city will maintain that lift station, which is standard with private lift stations across the city currently. The city will handle the ODEQ permitting, and the Creek Nation will pay for the project, which is estimated to be $700,000. The billing for this will be, for the sewer, will be based off their average water usage from their rural water district number 7 and will be adjusted annually. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. We also have Tim Woolsey from the Creek Nation and Jay Updike from Hub Engineering here as well to answer any questions that I cannot answer. Staff does recommend approval on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Rigney. Any questions for Mr. Rigney or the other representatives that are here tonight?
I move for approval.
I second it.
Mr. Miller?
I do want to, not to slow us down too much, but I do want to thank our partnership with Muskogee Creek Nation. We are excited to partner with them to do more economic development. This is going to make better use of that building. It's a former St. Francis Hospital out north of town. They're going to make much better use, create more jobs and services for people in our area, and we're very pleased that we can help in some small way with that investment that Muskogee Nation's making. So I do want to acknowledge that and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No further discussion. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell?
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Tracy McGee?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Item number 8 passes. Item number 9, please.
Consider approval of the appointment of Jim Wallingford to the Street Improvement Advisory Board to serve a 5-year term, replacing Mr. James Gully, beginning November 1, 2023, and ending on October 31, 2028, or take other necessary action.
This is my item. It's my honor to appoint Jim Wallingford to the street committee. With his real estate and legal background, he would be a great addition to this committee. And my motion is as presented.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion is second. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell?
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig?
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery?
Yes.
Tracy Hous?
Yes.
Tracy McGee?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed?
Yes.
Item passes. We have no citizens signed up to speak. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.